So these are all important principles of Agile which were formulated. Some of the Agile practices I have mentioned. In the interest of time, I'll be moving ahead since most of these practices will be covering in the later slides. So if you look at Agile methodologies, so as I mentioned, if you look at some of the practices, they are as old as in the 1950s, and slowly different people have formulated different methodologies over the due course of time. And so we have different methodologies like Scrum, Pragmatic Programming, Lean, Kanban, XP, Feature-Driven Development, and so on. But since the latest research shows that predominantly of all the Agile implementations, the Scrum methodology and extreme programming have been the most, the highest usage is across these two methodologies. So we'll be more focusing on these two for this presentation. So Scrum, again, this is one of the most popular methodologies which is being used by different organizations right now. And probably if you can see, there are different practices like product backlog, effort estimation, sprint planning meeting, and things like that. So probably I'll just try to, at a high level, I'll try to explain how the Scrum cycle works. So effectively, we have something called as the product backlog, which is nothing but the list of all the requirements which are needed to be developed for a particular project. So as you can see that there are many items in this diagram. So as part of the release planning meeting, so we identify what are the product backlog items, and based on the different priorities, business priorities, and based on the status of the requirements that are available. So the product owners gives all the priority items which have to be developed, and these items are taken up as part of the sprint backlog. So product backlog is a superset, and sprint backlog is a number of items that are planned to be developed for a particular sprint. Again, so in Scrum terminology, each iteration is called a sprint. So each sprint lasts for around 2 to 4 weeks, and as part of the each sprint cycle, we have something called as a daily stand-up meeting or daily Scrum meeting, wherein the team members meet on a daily basis. And how it works is that they meet for around 15 minutes, not more than that, and predominantly three items are discussed. One is on what had the individual done since the last stand-up meeting, that is probably from yesterday till today, what the particular individual will be doing from this meeting till the next meeting, and what are the roadblocks or issues that the particular individual is having. So these are the three predominant things that are covered as part of the daily Scrum meeting. So as part of this daily Scrum meeting, so these things are discussed along with the product owner, so that the product owner is also aware of the status of the the product owner. Probably he represents the business, probably in a software development organization. You can typically correlate him to be a business analyst, or he represents the business end user, or he could be the customer himself who is taking care of the requirements. Sprint review meeting. So at the end of each sprint, we have something called as a sprint review meeting. So which is nothing but a review meeting with the customer or the product owner, where the developed software is given a demo to ensure that the product owner is satisfied on what has been developed, and probably if everything goes on fine, it is moved into production. So wherever there are any inputs needed, so probably the team might undertake to do it immediately if it is possible, or probably there are improvements, probably that could be taken up in the next sprint. And at the end of each sprint, we have something called as retrospectives. So retrospectives are nothing but a meeting with all the Scrum team members along with the Scrum Master and the product owner, where I mean the status of the sprint. I mean two main things are discussed, namely what are the things that went well in the particular sprint. That is, what are the things which have been done in a good manner, which probably the team members would like to, agile team members would like to probably continue doing. What are the things that, what are the issues that have been done, so probably which they want to avoid, and certain areas, what are the things which probably they can improve upon. So I mean these items are discussed, and specific action owners are identified who will be responsible for carrying out these improvement activities in the subsequent sprints. So as I mentioned earlier, it's a continuous improvement process where I mean the team members evolve, they develop or improve on all the processes that are followed, any specific practices that are followed. So it's a regular continuous exercise. And if you can see that slide, I have also added another diagram which actually is not typically the Scrum team uses this task board, and basically it covers all the items that have to be done across a particular sprint. So we have three different items. What are the items to be performed, which comes under not checked out, and what are the items which are in progress, which will come under the column checked out, and done items, which are basically items or activities that have been completed by the agile team. Towards the right, you have the burn down chart. A burn down chart is nothing but a mechanism in which the team members or the management can have a look at the progress of the sprint. So, so basically, it's nothing but a graph containing what are the, I mean, the story points that are yet to be developed on the y-axis and the each day of the sprint. So probably we'll be plotting a graph with these two inputs, and then so as we progress across the sprint, so the amount of work pending should be come down. So typically a good progress sprint is where you have something like a right angle triangle as shown here. So that's all about Scrum in a nutshell. And moving across extreme programming. Extreme programming is also one of the methodologies which is probably which is in use prominently, and some of the practices that extreme programming talks about 12 core principles, and one is on the planning game. It's basically the involvement of the team members in terms of planning and estimation. Smart short releases, again these are similar to sprints which span across 1 to 3 weeks. Design metaphors, where we use metaphors for the understanding of the entire team, and talks about simple design. And I mean we create a simple design and develop the code in an elaborate manner, and then probably if possible we re-engineering the code to get back the original design. Testing, and extreme programming lays emphasis on automated testing to a greater extent. Refactoring, again since we are talking about simple design, so designs evolve and they are revisited frequently. Pair programming, this is one of the important techniques, or probably a little controversial also, where two people are involved in developing a code whereby different perspectives are analyzed in terms of development, as well as it serves as a review mechanism also, which is happening parallel to the development. Collective code ownership, it talks about the entire team being the owner for the code that is developed. So here it's a situation where in terms of any fixes or any changes to the code, any person who is available in the team should be able to do any change any part of the code. Continuous integration, so since we are talking about coding discipline, so obviously it is very important to have a good continuous integration practice where code churned out is integrated with the main source code on a regular basis. I mean it talks about nightly builds where code developed is checked into the version control system on a daily basis. 40-hour week, again, so extreme programming gives more emphasis on the team being productive. So it gives emphasis on ensuring the team members are productive, and they can be productive only if they stick to their working conditions or timings. So strictly it enforces a 40-hour week. There could be deviations here and there, but not on a regular basis. Only in case of dire need, there could be some deviations in terms of working extra. On-site customer, as I mentioned earlier, customer is the person who has to sit along with the team, who is part of the entire team, and he ensures that team members understand the requirements right throughout the course of the project. Coding standards, again, it gives a greater emphasis on coding standards. One, that it is easily maintainable by the entire team. As I mentioned earlier, any person should be able to do a change in the code at any point of time, and it ensures that there is a uniformity or consistency in terms of the code that is being developed. So so that is predominantly on extreme programming. And so as I mentioned earlier, these two are extreme programming and Scrum methodology are two of the most important methodologies that are being used, or if not for the methodology, most of the practices used in Agile are taken from these two methodologies. I mean, how do you compare Agile with traditional methodologies in a waterfall model? So probably I've highlighted some of the differences where you can see that it is more of an adaptive nature Agile methodology, using Agile methodology. Success is measured in terms of business value, in terms of prioritized requirements which are delivered. Management style is decentralized. As I mentioned, the team is the teams are self-organized and self-directed. We welcome change in Agile. It's more of a collaborative approach. Again, documentation, and again comes from the flows down from the Agile manifesto, where documentation only for the relevant or required parts documentation is available. And again, it's more on, we value people more rather than more on process, which is actually the case with the traditional methodology. And planning, again, it is minimal, because we cater to the planning from a sprint perspective. Though we start with a release perspective, we are driven by the sprint perspective. Return on investment is again it's early, because we are talking about delivered software at the end of each sprint. So probably within 2 or 4 weeks we are talking about deliverables to the end client or the end user. And we are talking about a team size which is small and creative, and who are ready to perform continuous improvement as they grow along the course of the project. So there are because Agile, since it's probably a mixture of different methodologies, a lot of practices have been evolved, and organizations, they have taken different practices from different methodologies which I've discussed, and probably they have in most of the cases organizations have probably followed their own methodology for their own practices which are suitable from a Agile development perspective. So because of this, there are a lot of misunderstanding or myths surrounding Agile, because people are not really knowledgeable enough in terms of what are the different practices, what are the goals, or what is the objective behind Agile. So these are some of the myths. Probably I mean the traditional probably proponents think that it is lacking discipline. They do whatever they want. Quality of the product is not ensured. We don't know what is available, when deliveries will be made, and generally it is only for software geeks, and it's not for normal people. And again, the most important thing is Agile is easy. So I mean, which probably you will get a sense of the complexity that is involved in Agile based on all these practices. And some of the challenges, again, so single most important challenges I would say is that Agile is a journey. It's not a silver bullet solution where one fine day you can say that I'll start implementing in Agile. It's a social change, it's a mindset change, and people are used to only the waterfall mindset. So it is a big change on from the team members perspective, those who are going to practice, as well as from the management perspective. Software organizations need to really find value in Agile. And simplicity requires extra work, and we need a lot of good mediators, because we are talking about a holders involvement right through the project, where they interact and work together with the team. Lots of discipline. We are talking about a lot of engineering practices like continuous integration, automated testing, and difficult to keep the interest of the customers throughout the project. So I mean, since probably if customers in the traditional way, they are only probably involved in the beginning and in the end of the project, so it's difficult to keep them interested in the due course of the project. And there are different stakeholders who are involved, which makes it a little complex also.